Cool. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. So today we will continue from where we stopped yesterday. In yesterday's class, which was class 7 of the DataWeave series, we saw using local variables inside functions, and we wrote two functions, one function that tells us if a given number is composite or not, and another function that gives, when you give it two arrays, it gives you values that are common to the arrays and values that are found only in each of the array. So the main intention of this part was using the keyword do to use local variables with local scope. So today, this one, we are going to modify it a little bit. So what we are going to do is save this function as a module and import that function and use it. Like we import other functions from the other modules, including from the arrays, strings, and so on. We will see how to create our own module, how to save our functions as external modules and import them and use them. Yesterday's other thing is we saw how to import functions from modules. There are a couple of different ways. We saw is importing from the arrays module, and particularly we focused on joining. We saw how to join, inner join, left join in DataWeave, and also we saw how to do the same thing with SQL in my SQL workbench, and we compared the results. And this was in a nutshell what we did yesterday. So today, as I said, we are going to see first how to externalize our own functions and save them as modules and import them like any other function from the other modules and use them. The other thing is when we write DataWeave code that creates variables, attributes, and payload, especially when the code is long, since the code gets added to the XML code, it makes it difficult to read, but we can save it as external DWL data so that our code is neat. It will be shorter, it will be more succinct, and also we can use that data again and again. So again and again. So it has reusability advantage, and also it makes our code neat. We will see that also. And I think the rest, after we complete this two, we are going to discuss. So let's first see this one. So I have created a project, DataWeave Class-8. Let me remove this. And just, I will bring this transform message, and let's call it create our own module and import it. So create our create it and save it as external file. So in yesterday's class, let's see this function. We saw it calculates if a given number is composite or not. So this function, if you see here in the code, if you go to the XML file, this code is there in the XML file. So if I go here, you see we have the code we use it for joining. Left join, inner join. This is a function here. Check if composite is here. So this one, we can save it as an external file and just import that module rather than making our XML code so long like this. And also if we save it as external file, it will be more usable. See, just wherever we want to use it, we just import it rather than copy pasting all this code again and again. We just import that function. Okay. So, so I will come here. This is class 8. Class 8, I have it here. So under main resources, let me remove these ones. I was just testing, preparing for the class. Remove. Okay. So now we want this function. We want to save it as an external function and import it like the rest of other functions in the other modules. So under the main resources, let's create a folder. So I right click on it, new, go to folder, and then I will call it my modules or my module. So this is the folder, as you can see. Under this folder, I can create a file and have different functions inside it. Again, right click on it, new, file. I will call it my functions. So now in here, we can copy paste the function we wrote yesterday. This one, let me put the flow. We have this function that checks if it is composite or not. As you can see, I'm just copying this function, this part, copy it, paste it here. So this is one function. And I replaced the DataWeave version, so I need that. This one, bring it here. Otherwise, it will just be like text. Okay. So this is one function. Let's bring the other function also that gives the arrays. This is, yeah, I have it here. This function, you give it two arrays, then it gives you their intersection, their difference, like with the first values found in the first one only, values found in the second array only, and values found in either of them only. So this function also, I will copy it like this. So I have these functions. Let me see. Oh, yeah. Oh, the other thing, what I missed here is, let me copy this and remove this. When I save it, I delete it from here. It should be like DWL should be the extension. So right click here, new, file, my functions.dwl. Okay, it should be like this. So the extension should be DataWeave language.dwl. Now I have these two functions. They are under my module. So when to import it, I simply import it by using import my functions from my module. Then my functions will have two functions, check if composite and also comment if. So let's import it and see. The other thing is pay attention to the XML code. As you can see, there isn't anything here. After I import it also, it will just add the code to import it. Otherwise, it will not be as all this code will not be included in that XML code. So it makes it neat. Okay, so we go here, and in here, let me make this JSON import my module my functions. So I'm importing under my module, I'm importing my functions. I have my function and my functions file itself, the extension DWL, as you can see, it contains two functions. So to use each one of them, what I have to do is I have to do the function name, my functions dot the function. Yeah. Okay. Now, so let's see the function is the first one. Like for example, let's check let's use check if composite. So I come here, check if composite is from here. It doesn't know it yet. If I don't do like this, I have to explicitly tell it it is from the my functions file. So under my functions file, there is this check composite function. Use that and tell me if 91 is composite. Let's see. I have to save this. No, it says running. Yeah, composite, it says. So I know 4 is composite, 5 is not composite, 6 is composite. and -100, it should be positive, so this should be incorrect input, or if it is decimal also, it should be incorrect input. So this is the same function we used yesterday. However, now we externalized it as we saved it as an external function. Now we can use it again and again by importing it. If you see the XML code here for DataWeave Class 8, let me save. You see, we have this one, this code only, the import my functions from my module. We have that, then we are using this function. That's it. It is not like very verbose like this one, as you can see in here. All the code is there. And especially if you are using it more than once, it is good to save it as function so that you can use it again and again. Let's try with the other one also. So this is with DataWeave Composite. The second one was so I will comment this, and the function name is commandif. Then it expects 2 arrays. So I come here, I give it 2 arrays. Array 1, 2, 3. Another array could be 2, 3, 4, 5. So 2 and 3 are common to both of them. Let's see if it gives us that information. So you see V1 only, 1 is found in V1 only in the left array, 1 is found in the left array only, 4 and 5 are found in the second array only, 2 and 3 are common, 1, 4, 5 are found only in either of them. So this function is we saw yesterday in the table. The only thing we are exploring now is creating our own modules. So you create a folder under source main resources. I am calling it my module. Under that, you will have different files. I'm having, and the extension is DWL. My function is not DWL. Usually, it will be by project. If you relevant functions, and that do specific things, like, for example, if they are for array manipulation or string manipulation, so they will be grouped together. But now we just have to random functions. So that's why I'm calling them my functions. And we brought them and saved them here. Then we imported them and we are using them. As easy as that. Okay, the other thing, so the advantage of this we said is it makes our code neat, easy to read, more readable. And also we can just use it again and again rather than copy pasting the same code. So related to that, while we are at it, also we can also externalize our attributes, payloads, and so on. So in here, we have saving variables, attributes, and payload as external DWL data. Let's see why we need to do that. So in here, let's say, in the join, when we join the data, orders and customers yesterday, as you can see here, the code is included in the XML file, right? So we have this code, we have all this code. It makes it less readable and difficult to debug, to understand where an error occurred. So rather than including the code like this, we can save this as an external file and just point it to that file rather than including the code here. So how do we do that? Let's have another transform message. This one I will call it save payload or variables or attributes as file. So I come here, and yesterday we saw how to add files here, right? Simply right click here. We added a folder under new folder. So folder, let me do it again. Let me do it again. W3 schools. I'm creating folder here. Then under that, we can just copy paste data from our machine. So I have the course data, and then this ones I can simply select all of them, Control A, right click copy, come here and right click on W3 schools folder and paste them. Paste. So that's what we did to add the files like this here, and also to read files from here. We saw using the read URL function from the core module. So it is under joiners, yeah, here. So let me copy this part. This one we saw yesterday, how to join, left join, and inner join orders and customers data. So I will copy this and take it. So pay attention here to the XML code. Now, so far, our code only, we have imported this module and tested the functions by giving them input. But now I will paste the codes that we use to join the tables, and then it will be added to this XML file. So I will come here and just paste it here. So what are we doing here? We said from the core module, we use read URL to read data, whether from the internet or from our project. If it is from our project, the syntax is it starts with class path. This class path takes us to source main resources. Then, since it is under W3 schools, as you can see, I have W3 schools here, which is this one. And then I'm reading orders.csv. Orders.csv is this one. And you have to specify the main type we said, which is application CSV. We have also the customers. And we use it from the arrays module. We imported the join function. And you just give it the left array and the right array. And also you tell it from each array which field to use for joining. So this one we saw it yesterday. If you were not there yesterday in the class, you can go over yesterday's videos and you'll understand it. And then once we join it, since when you join it, it has left L and R, like for each. So there are objects, and each object within itself has left and right objectives. So we are here just extracting it. As you can see, we are using a map function, and for each value is array from the left. As you can see, LL, we are extracting these fields, and from the right we are extracting these fields. You can extract the fields of interest, and the key name here, yeah, you can rename it. If you have to rename the field name, it is here that you can rename it. And also, if you want to modify this, its unit, for example, change it from one unit to the other. Let's say if it was temperature degree Celsius, and if you want to change it to degree Fahrenheit, or if it was in meters and you want to change it to feet, or if it was a dollar, if it was currency and it was in dollar sign, and now you want to change it to pound and so on, you can control it like this. So all this we saw yesterday. Now I have added this, and if you go to the code now, the code, we'll see this code added there. So you see all this code is here in the XML file. So rather than adding the code like this, we can externalize the payload, save it as file, and just that file will be imported. How do we do that? So it's under class 8 in here. I will copy this, delete it, and edit current target, okay? And output is the payload, rather than inline, the source code. Inline means it will be added to XML file. Rather than saving it as inline, I would save it as file. And I give it here name, and the name, as you saw, it should be .dwl extension. So inner join .dwl, for example, I can call it inner join.dwl. Then this file will be added here on the main resources. You will see it. I can do like this. Now paste my code actually under that. So Now, if you come here, let me compose this here. Inner join, here it is. You can see here inner join.dwl under source main resources. Now, if I come here to the XML code, this code will not be there. This code, since it has been externalized, it will not be there. Let's see. It is here. So those resources inner join.dwl. So I can use it in different flows the same way. But now it has been externalized and the code doesn't get added here. And as you can see, even if we have functions that tell whether an input is a composite number and also common intersection and the difference of arrays, and also this one that joins different data after importing the data and so on. Our XML is so far so neat, very, very few lines. Okay. So that's it. Practice with that. This is very, very important and common in interviews and certification also. You have to understand it. This is, as a developer, this is very important skill. Now, so we saw externalizing our functions, importing them and using them. We saw this saving variables. It is not only payload that we save as external file. You can also save variables in the attribute. It's the same thing. Just let's add here. I can add a variable. The same thing. Let me add it. Let me save it as a variable even. So copy this code. Just click this plus sign. Add a new target. In the drop down, payload is not there because already we have a payload. So I will create a variable. The variable name again, left join var, I will call it, and save it as file. Left joined var.dwl, and here I'll just copy the same code. You don't need to do it. It should not. Its intention is not to have the same code as payload and variable, but just like we have been creating variables and payloads before, right? When we were creating flows, different complex data transformations. So you can save them as external file like this. You see here, the variable is also here. Left joined var.dwl. Now, if I go to the XML also, it will just reference to that variable. You see here. Here it is. The variable name is left joined var, and the resources left joined var.dwl, which is this one. Okay, perfect. So we are done with points 1 and 2. Now we have this one. So yesterday we saw how to join arrays using the join function from the arrays module. But in interviews, you may encounter a question that says join two arrays without using the join function, without using any module, just or they may say explicitly using map. So let's see how to join the arrays using the map. You can consider this a little bit advanced, but if you spend some time on it, it should not be difficult. Okay. So again here, I will come add another flow. I will push all these projects to GitHub, so you will get them there. So here, now this one, I will rename it as join using map, rather than, so this is inner join. When we say join, it is the same as inner join. Inner join or simply join using map. And now, so first I will read the files like this one. I will bring this. Save, bring it here. So we are reading these files here. By the way, you can also copy files and folders from one project to the other. Like for example, this W3 school folder, it has this data. Now I create, let's say I create another project let me call it test 10 or something. Now I can just, let's say I want to copy this folder with all this data. I can just right click here and copy, then go to, where are we, test 10. Test 10 is here. So under source main resources, right click here and paste. So you see all the folder and all the data are also there. So this is very handy, copying from project to project, from your file, from your machine to studio and so on. So I love that. Okay, so I will delete this and remove it. Okay, so let's get back to here. Now we are looking at inner join using map. Okay, perfect. So I will preview it. So if we just, let me make sure it is reading it appropriately. Or there is, okay, display it. Saved, it has been saved. It is CSV, W3, schools, customers, the CSV, orders, the CSV. Okay, let me see where is it. That's it, yeah. W3, oh, schools. I have to rename this. It is school. I put it as school here. So refactor, rename, schools. Okay, let's see now if it reads in review. It worked. Okay, class pass W3, schools. Let me go to another flow and come back. And save. Okay, perfect. Yeah, it was typo. I forgot S. Or I could have removed this S from here. So this is orders. And this is customers. Now we want to join them on customer ID. On customer ID. That means for records that have the same customer ID, give me their corresponding records from both arrays, from the orders and from the customers. So in simple words, what we are saying here is who are the customers who have orders, and give me the order detail and the customer information. So yesterday what we did with join is simply we import join to import the join from the arrays function, from the arrays module. So from the arrays module, which is here, right? So the modules are here, as you can see, just to import it, like you can see here. Let me increase the zoom. DW double colon core, it is here, double colon core, double colon arrays, and under it has all these functions. To import these functions, we refer to this module. And how do we do that? We say there are multiple ways of doing it. You can explicitly import that specific function. If you are to use only that function, like you see, import join from DW double colon core double colon arrays. Or you can, if you want to import all functions, you simply do asterisk, so it will import every function there. Or if you are going to use the function only once, you don't even need to import it. You can just write it as part of the code here. I can do like this: DW double colon core double colon arrays double colon join. I want to use the join function. Then I give it the inputs, customers and orders. Let me make this new line for readability. And this one like this. Then we say, let's say the customers table, we can call it customers or A, should not matter. But as we give the field name that we want to use for the join, which is this customer ID. So we want to use customer ID from customers, comma, and from orders also, I want to use it is the same as you can see here. Yeah, it is. I think it is customer ID for that also. So I will bring this here and change this to orders. So what we are doing here is join the customers and orders arrays. And for joining from the customers, which is the left field, the left array, use customer ID. From the right, also use customer ID. It depends on the field name. And this one, we said we can also put it as AB, where A will refer to anything. We can't give them any name. But this one will refer always to the first, and this one will refer to the second. And whatever name you give it here, make sure you have to have the same name here. And whatever name you put here, you have to have the same name here. Okay, it is giving an error because of this comma, I guess. Okay, and as you can see, it gives an object from the left. For customer ID 2, it gives me the object from customers and also the object from orders and so on. And this one, we further make it neat by extracting, like by further going to these objectives. So what we did is, to spend more time on this, I can copy this one. Then I want to show you how you can do the same using map without using join. So this one, let me first, to do that, I have to save this as variable called joined. So joined is this variable, the output after joining the table is saving it as a variable. And always this one, you have to have var or fun or something, otherwise it will be, you cannot simply say x equals to 5. Var x equals to 5 is what you have to put. So since I have this joined now, I can use map to further combine the records from the left and the right. So this customer ID doesn't have, okay, let me see. Most of them are nice. Yesterday they were not like this. What changed? Maybe the order changed. Okay, yeah, the order is first, customer second. That is why we have nulls here as compared to yesterday's. I can put this like this. As you can the order, I mean, since I am here in the map, I have value index and value.l and then value.r. For joining, for inner join, this part will not, the result here will not change. However, if you have to apply this kind of transformation, then the order matters. So when I change this order, as you can see, now it looks fine, right? This is what we did yesterday. Now, in an interview, you may be asked to join two arrays without importing any module. Let's do that, then we'll have some 10 minutes break. Okay, so I will, let's externalize this as an external verb, or I can simply remove it. Let's remove it. Join, this one, we need it, let's say. So to join them, what we do is orders, we use map. We can say order item, comma, order item index. Actually at work, when you write production code, it should be intuitive as much as possible. It should not be simply A, comma B or value index. It is good if it is descriptive, but for now to make it short, we'll say this one, value 1, index 1. So for each, what we are doing here is, increase this. So for each value in the order is, we are going to check if it has a corresponding value in the customers. So if you like this, then here, by the way, I will add a bracket. So for each value, for each value in the orders, then map the customers value to index 2. Now, what we are doing is for each value from the orders, let's say what we are doing here is let me show you create some Excel file. Oh yeah, or I can see on the internet inner join images. So let's say we have this one. So what we are doing here is, if I enable this one, and okay. So what we are doing here is, let's say this is a left table. Actually, customers and orders are the tables we have here also. So we have customers and orders. So what we are doing is for each record, let's say we take this record, the first one, then we are checking if there is match with each of the records in the second table. Is there a match with this one? Compare. Is there a match with this one? 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 Then next we go to the next one, the next record. The same thing with this one also. Is there a match with this one? We see. If there is a match, then we return it. Otherwise, it will be null. This is how we are doing it. Actually, the function, the arrays function in the join function in the arrays also, it does something similar. So it could be more optimized, but the concept is the same thing. So you take one record from the left, and for that record, you compare it with each record from the right. So we use two map operations, right? In this case. Okay, so var joined orders map value 1 index 1. Since this we took one value, now we are going to compare it with each value from customers. So what we do is, if we put if here, value 1 dot customer ID, which is this customer ID, if value 1 dot customer ID, which is from the orders, right, from the first table, let me put this in a new line. If value 1 dot customer ID equals to value 1 equals to value 2 dot customer ID, right? Then we create the object we want to create. So I'll copy paste the code here for creating the object where it was like from yesterday. This pattern I'm referring to. Because yeah, we will modify this one. Let's copy this, and take it here. Now I don't have left and right, rather I have value 1 and value 2, right? Value 1 is orders, whereas value 2 is customers. So this one, I will put it value 1, the same way value 1, then value 1, all these are coming from the first table, from the first array. Right, was it left or right? Customer name, let me see. And it's not working. So I'll go to here, and where does, okay, R starts at customer name, which is the second table in this case. So customer name, now we'll put 2 here. Because we are calling it value 2 here. So value 2, value 2, value 2. Okay, I will explain what we have done now. Okay, I have not yet completed it, right? So if there is a match, do this, else not, just put. Else, if they are not the same, I mean, for each value, for each item from orders, compare it with each item in the customers, and if they match, then give me this object. If they don't, if there is no match, return null. We do like this. So you see this bracket, it closes this bracket. Now let's see if there is any error, and I will explain what is happening. So joined is showing error here because I don't have anything in the body part. So if I do like this, so now it returns if there is no match between an item from orders and an item from customers, it returns null. As you see, we have lots of null, and we have also cases where it is not null. So the cases where it is not null means they match. It is inner chain works. Otherwise, there are lots of nulls. So you see here also it is a nested array. Why is it nested array? Because for each value from the first table, it is first array, it is comparing with each value from the second array. So this is one, go down, it closes here for each one of them. Then you have here and so on. So this nested array, to get, we can just flatten it to make it, to remove this one square bracket. So if I do flatten, it gives me this, as you can see. Now I can remove the nulls using filter. So we have seen a filter. If you forget it, you can go over the tutorials we saw, all the exercise we did, and go over the documentation also. But filter, here we can use filter, that item not equals to null. If I do like this is the same thing as we did yesterday. So let me explain it again. You can see it is much, it is more involved as compared to using the join function from arrays. But anyway, this is a common question also. So if you can, it is good if you practice it step by step. Just don't run the whole code. Just see chunk by chunk what it is doing. But to summarize what we did, so we read in two files which created two arrays, orders and customers. We are using map. We know map is used to iterate over arrays and map it to something else. So for each item in orders, and the item we are calling it value 1, we will not use index 1. For each item from orders, then compare it with each item in the customers array, and each item in customers array, we are calling it value 2. And we are comparing if there is a match using this if logic, customer ID from value 1 and customer ID from value 2. Now, if there is a match, I need these fields. I can do whatever I want here. Rename fields, transform them, whatever, or create nested objects or nested arrays and so on. I have the flexibility, right? But if there is no match, give me null, is what we have done here. And this one gives nested array. That's why we use it flatten. This is good. We are practicing different functions, as you can see here. Just here alone, we have seen using of read URL. You know how to use the read URL function from the core module. You see how to use order twice, map twice, and if also the if else logic, also flatten and filter, very important functions. So if it is null, remove it. I don't need it. I need just only if there are joins is what we are doing, and it returns this return. So far we saw how to join tables or arrays using map, and also how to externalize our functions as modules, import them and use them. We also saw how to save variables, attributes, and payloads as external DWL data so that our XML code is neat, easy to read, easy to debug, and also it makes it more reusable. And I will give you, I will give you 10 minutes break. Then we are going to get to these two modules, the arrays module and strings module. Okay, we were here. So we will look, we have covered this bullet pointers so far from this class. We will just see these two modules now. So we saw join and left join, and I gave you as exercise to use outer join functions from the array module, but there are other modules also here, including count by and so on. Let's quickly see these functions one by one. So count by, it says counts the elements in an array that return true. So this is like filter together with size of, like last time, for example, let me create another flow here and class 8 and let's add the airports data. It was, I will create another, I guess another folder here and call it other data rather than W3 schools, other data, and I will copy paste the airports data, which is this one, copy it from here and here, paste it. So I have the airports data here, as you can see. Now, here, let's read it in. We say we use a readRL function from the core module. We don't need to import anything. Airports. So read URL. The syntax is class paths :/ That one takes me to source main resources. Now, other data airports.json. And then I have to specify the data type or the MIME type. Application, as you can see, it's JSON. It says airports.json. So if I do this, let's check here, make sure it has read it in. Right, like this. So here is the airports data, right? Now, one of the questions we did before, including to do group by, filter, and so on, was to get count of airports by time zone, for example. So we group it by, first we use group by, then we use size of. Now count by is combination of it. It gives you the count rather than the records, it gives you the count. So here, for example, let's answer one question. So these airports we have, they have latitude, longitude, and let's see, are these airports, let's make more interesting use case. Are there more airports in the US East or US West? So considering the US, let's see map of the US, map USA. I think the center is somewhere it passes through Dakota, the Dakota, South Dakota here. So let's say the center passes somewhere around here, like this. So do we have more airports to the east or to the west from that data? And I was checking this, longitude is somewhere around -103.7 is the center. So we can come here. Then what we can do is airports, we have to import the modules, right? Now I will import all functions because we are going over the different functions under the arrays module. So I will do import asterisk from DW arrays. Now here I have count by, so I have loan here, count by $sign.loan greater than, because to the west it will be more negative, greater than -103.77. Responding greater than negative 103.77. So there are 632 airports to the east of this line. 632. We know the east is more densely populated than the west. I think 2/3 of the US population is mainly focused around here. So it is expected that there are more airports here. So we are just trying to answer that programmatically. So you see 632 here. I can also put, what about the west? How many airports do I have the west? You see 368. Almost 2/3 of the airports are to the east. 368 versus 630. So count by is like filter together with size of. This one we can do the same thing. Let me show you with filter and size of. So we did filter. If I do this, you see it gives me the recurrence. Then we did size of that output. That is how we were checking 632 still. But count by makes it more succinct and it could have more application. I mean, there are times where one function is more handy than another. So it is good to know the different functions there and what they are used for. Count by, okay. So I will remove this. Okay, perfect. That is the first function we have, count by. We have also divide by. So it breaks up an array into sub-arrays that contain the specified number of elements. This one is to break one array into sub-arrays. They have an example. We can go just over the example, run that and discuss in DataWeave Playground itself. So move this to here. Paste it here. Oh, I copy the whole of it. So if we do like this, and I will minimize, let me arrange this and a little bit minimize the zoom level. Okay. So we have here the array 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has 5 elements. We want to create sub-arrays of size 2. You see 1, 2, 3, 4. But the last one, it is only one element. When there is just a number of elements less than the specified size, it just returns that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. In the second one, it is we have 6 elements and we are dividing it by 2. So it is divisible by 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6. The third one, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 divided by 3. Now we want to make sub-arrays of size 3. So this will be one sub-array. The second sub-array will be just 4 and 5. The application is we will practice with more real-world use cases in the DataWeave interview questions that I am going to share in the Telegram channel. So that's another function. We have also drop. Drop just drops the specified number of elements from an array. It says here drops the first n elements. It returns the original array when n is less than or equal to 0. So if you don't want to drop anything, or if the input is negative, if you want to drop negative number of elements, it means they are not dropping anything. And if n is greater than the size of the number of elements, then all of them will be dropped. That means it will return empty. So we have an example here. Let's copy here, take it here. So we have this user's variable. It has 3 names here. We want to drop 2. We are left with 1. What if we want to drop 3? Everything will be dropped. What if we want to drop 10? Also they are empty. What if we want to drop negative 10? It returns the original array if we put negative or 0. Yep. That's drop. So for drop, we are specifying the number of elements to drop, whereas drop while it drops based on some condition. So drops elements from the array while the condition is met, that stops the selection process when it reaches an element that fails to satisfy the condition. So it checks the condition and it keeps dropping. Once that condition fails, it stops dropping and it doesn't check also the next elements. So here is an example. Come here. This has a difference with filter. So we have an array. It has 0, 1, 3, 2, 1. Hope you are able to see it. So drop while value is less than 3. Okay, 0 is less than 3. It is dropped. 1 is less than 3. It is dropped. 3 not less than 3. So it stops dropping and it returns 3, 2, 1. As you can see, 2 and 1, they are not checked. Once it fails here, it doesn't keep checking. And such nuances or variations in function applications, they have lots of real-world applications. We were on drop while and drop while. I'm very surprised with how I forgot this. Okay, drop while. So we say it keeps checking until it gets the first force, then it stops there. It doesn't keep continue. It doesn't continue after that. And that is drop while. We have every it checks. Let me copy paste this, and we can discuss this. It checks if every element is the same or if every element is something. See here we have an array that contains 3 ones. Is every value equals to 1? Yes. This one also, it contains just only one element, which is 1. Is every element equals to 1? Yes. Whereas here we are checking if the remainder is 1, if every remainder is 1 when we divide the elements 1 to 3 by 2, and sometimes it is 0. So you see false. Is every element 1 here? No, there is a 0. So that's why it is false. Here also we have zeros. And is every element 1 is what we are checking, and it is false. Yeah, here also every element is not 1. You can see 2 and 3. This is empty as array number. Let's see this one. What is this? Let me comment this out. So this is empty, and we are checking if that empty array, everything there, if it is true, and it returns true. So empty, check here. Empty, every true returns true. That's interesting. Okay, so every with empty returns true. We will see what that is the case. Another function is from here. We have first with. So the first with, it returns here. It says returns the first element that satisfies the condition, or returns null if no element meets the condition. So you have some condition. It keeps checking until it gets the first element that satisfies that condition, and it returns it, and it doesn't keep checking with the rest of them. So let's copy this one and see what it is doing. So users, we have users variables, and okay, we have these objects under that variable. So first we want to check. It returns until it gets where the first occurrence where name is Mariano. So here we have Mariano name, here also the same name. but it checks all until it gets the first true. So that means it will return this one. And that is what we see here. And in the second one, first we check if the name until you get Peter. And in here, there is no name Peter, Mariano, Anna, and Mariano. So it returns none. So you see this one, it checks, it returns the first occurrence of something. And we have index of, this one also returns the index of the first occurrence rather than the element itself. It returns the index of it. If no value is found, it returns -1. Then based on this index, you can further process your data. So they have this example here, copy it. And so index of under user is Julian, and Julian is 0, 1, 2. See here. That is intuitive. So now we have index where. This index where is checks some condition. It returns the index of the first occurrence of an element that matches a condition. If no match is there, it returns -1. By the way, this one also, rather than Julian, if you put for example, John, it should give -1 because John doesn't exist in this array. Index where some condition, see this one, copy it, bring it here. So here, index where item starts, see here, it is more flexible. Item starts, you can use functions from the core module or with other module, from the other modules for checking here. So where the item starts with JUL, it is going to check. Does this start with JUL? No. Does this start with JUL? No. Does this start with JUL? Yes. It returns the index of that. That's why we have this index. If we do again, let's do Julian again and again, just it returns the first occurrence. That's what it says. So here, returns the index of the first occurrence. That's why it doesn't check the rest of them. Join, we have seen, very important, left join, outer join. And let's see, okay, we saw every checks if every element is the same. The opposite of that, there is sum. Sum, you want to, these ones usually are used for checking some conditions. Like for example, if there is some recorded that fulfill some condition, you want to do one kind of task, otherwise another task. So sum, it returns true if the data contains something. So let's copy this again and come here. So for some of them, is the remainder when we divide by 2. For some of them, is this 0? Yes, because 2 is divisible by 2. That's why you see 2 here. And here we see, okay. In the second one also, we see if we can also put it like this using a lambda function, the same thing with the first one. Here also, we are checking if it is divided by 2, yes, 0. Here also, 1, 2, 3. When we divide these numbers by 2, either one, at least 1 where the remainder is 1, yes. When we divide 1 by 2 or 3 by 2, the remainder is 1, so it is true. We have an array here from 1 to 8, and we are checking if 2 is there. This one, it is checking if 2 is in this array. Yes, 2 is there. So that's why it's true. Here also, does 1 exist here? Yes, it exists. Here also, does 1 exist here? Actually, every one of them are 1. Here also, does 1 exist here? Yes. So anyway, sum, it checks if it contains what is specified. Whereas every checks everything. In this case, only this one would return true if we use this one and this one. If we use every rather than that. So if I put this every and see the difference, these ones they will be changed to false, except the two every So for if you use every, we have true only for these two, whereas some, all of these are true because they contain the number. Here we are checking if 1, 2, 3 contain 100. No. This one is an array that contains 1. Does it contain 2? No. So you see false. Okay. So that is sum. Sum in the every, remember that. And from here, let's see, I think split at and split where, the rest carries them. We have almost covered all of them. So split at splits an array into 2 at a given position. So we have, let's copy this. These things, they may look easy now, but their application is immense. So here we have an array. We want to split it at index 1. So 0, 1. So that index 1 will be in the second array. So you see left and the right. Left is, so the left of index 1, which is just index 0, and the rest are in the right. That is split at. Also, we can split based on some condition, where that is why we have split where. See this one, the where, the difference between where and without where here. So here we have split where and split at. Here also we have index of and index where. So they check some condition. This one also splits an array into 2 at the first position where the condition is met. So once that condition is met, it splits the array. It doesn't keep checking for the rest. We have here, so where the item starts with JUL, so it starts with JUL here. So these ones will be in the left, these ones will be in the right. That is what we see here. Okay, so this is the arrays module. Explore it, do the examples by copy pasting the code to DataWeave. The other one I want to see for today is the strings, and we'll be done. So strings is very string processing, string manipulation. It is very common task. So make sure you go over this module and familiarize yourself with the functions. So I will cover the main ones. We have camelize. Let's start with camelize, and we'll get to append if we think after that. Let's first see the main ones. So camelize, it means it returns in camel form. Camel form means the first word will start with lowercase. The next words will start with uppercase. So let's see here. Copy this. Very common thing. This one, camelize, underscore, and so on, upper, capitalize, pluralize, and so on are common. So we have this, for example, customer first name. So it removes these underscores, and F and N will be uppercase. This is camelize gives you this output. So this is in camel form. The same thing here also, name will be lowercase, all the rest is uppercase. We will start with uppercase. Name is uppercase, with uppercase, U under the uppercase, because this is one word. The start of each word is uppercase. That is camelize. And the next one is capitalize, which is just intuitive. It capitalizes them. So copy, paste this, come here, and paste it, as you see. Customer, now the start of each word will be uppercase, and underscores will be removed, or if it was in camel form also, it will separate it. So this one, it was in camel form, customer name. Now it separated it and it added space and make it in capitalized. C and N are uppercase. Here C was lowercase, now it made it uppercase. As you can see, these ones, they were underscored. The underscores have been replaced by white space and capitalize the start of each word. That is capitalized. And the other one is dasherize. This one is it replaces spaces, underscores, and camel casing with dashes. Dasherize, not underscore but dash. So let's copy paste this and come here. So customer is just here it adds nothing. Whereas here, these are underscores. Now they are replaced by dashes. And this one also, this space will be replaced by dash, and n will be also lowercase. This one, it was in camel case. Now it adds a dash here in between customer and the name, as you can see, and n is also lowercase. So it makes them lowercase and adds dashes where there is underscore or white space or where it was in camel form. And these ones are important for checking your condition. Like, for example, we have this is numeric. We can add it to the function we created yesterday. If our input is a string, rather than checking if it is composite or not, it should say the input is incorrect. So we can add that. Is numeric. It checks if the number is, it works with positive integers only. So copy paste it here. With null, I mean, it is null. So with null, null is not numeric. So we see false. When it is empty, also it is false. White space also is not numeric. This is numeric, 1, 2, 3. So you see D true. This one, I think it is 2, 2, 3 in some font, it seems. Or I don't know, another language. Yeah, it is 2, 2, 3, right? 2, 2, 3. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, towards is some font. So it returns true, as you can see here. And here 1, 2, white space 3, it is not numeric because it has white space, so it is false. A B to C is not also numeric. 1, 2 dash 3 is also not numeric because it has a dash. And the negative and positive of 1, 2, 3 are not numeric. And this one is also decimal. So is numeric checks if it is a positive integer. So for our function is composite, we can use this to add a check. So we have is numeric. We have is alpha that checks if it is an alphabet. So if it is just the alphabet, is copy paste this, bring it here. From here, only this one is alpha, D is true, the rest are false. Because these ones are important, these checks are important, because when you transform data from one form to the other, you have to first make sure the data is in the required format. So we use them for such cases. These ones are not alphabets. This one also, it has a 2. This one, it has dash, not only alphabet. So only D is to the result. Alphanumeric. This alphanumeric, it checks if it is either number or an alphabet. So bring it here, paste here. So from here, this one is true because it contains alphabets and numbers. The rest of them are false. We have white space here, it is not alphanumeric. Oh, this one also should be true, ABC. This one also is just D. Where is D? Yeah, D is also true because it contains only alphabets. So alphanumeric, it checks either, it should be either an alphabet or a number, a positive integer, or a combination of the two. This one is null, this one there is an alphanumeric, this is white space. This one, here also we have a white space that makes it false. Here we have a dash that makes it false too. Is numeric, is alphanumeric, is lowercase. We have also is lowercase and is uppercase. They are the same thing. Is lowercase. So if it is lowercase, then you want probably to change it to uppercase or do something based on that. So these checks are very important in string manipulation. Is lowercase here, we have this one in lowercase. The rest of them, it should return false because also if there is non-alpha input, it will be false. So we have true only for D. Here, B is uppercase. Here we have white space. Here we have non-alpha character. Here also non-alpha character. And this is also white space. That is lowercase. We have is uppercase. The same thing. You copy this. It checks if the characters are all in uppercase. So this is uppercase. We see D is true. The rest of them are false because we have non-alpha characters, as you could see. So we have true only for D. Here we have forward slash, here we have one, here we have white space, and null here. So all of them return false except this one, uppercase is uppercase. And we have reverse. Let's see reverse. So we have been reversing elements from string and from array using indexing and also using reduce, but we have also this reverse function. It just reverses it. So see reverse string Mariano now is reversed and it starts with ONAI. Yeah, you can see reversed here. Or simply I can do reverse mine, for example. Yeah, it looks so weird. But anyway, we have this reverse function. And we have substrings are very important. We'll see that. But first, let's see pluralize and singularize. Singularize and pluralize are opposite. So it just adds S or removes it. Makes singular or plural. And here you see this example. Pluralizes a singular string. If the input is already plural, for example, boxes, output will match the input. It will not change it. So you see now it added F. Yeah, actually for this box, since it ends with X, it added ES. Yeah, if it is fish, it's plural, it's fish. I hope so it will not make any change. And let's say ox, does it know it? Oxen, yes. And what else? Yeah, oh yeah, it's smart. So you see it changes into plural. Now let's singularize. We have singularize. Singularize. Wife is already singular. So let me remove this. Doesn't change it. What if I make oxen? Okay, it knows it. I mean, removing S or adding S is easy, but it knows the irregular ones also. So singularize and pluralize are these ones. And substring is very important. So substring, we'll see this substring from here to here and we'll be done. We'll finish in 5 minutes. So substring returns a substring that spans from the character as a specified. Okay, returns a substring that spans from the character as a specified from index to the last character before the until index. Okay, so let's see. These are easier to understand from the examples. So the substring, it will give us from 1 to 4 in this case. Substring, this hello world, text is hello world, as you can see, it is a variable, hello world exclamation, and we want from 1 to, it is exclusive of the last one, to 4. So 0 is H, it will start at E, you see E, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 is O. So you see, very important to create substrings from a given string. And there is substring after. I want it to substring after something. So copy paste it. See here, I mean the nulls and the dashes and the white spaces, forget them. We have this ABC. We want to substring it after B. I want everything after B, which is just C. You see. And after B also here, it checks the first occurrence. So there is a B here. It returns CBA. Oh, it returns. So the first B is this one, the first B. Then it returns everything after that. So CD, here's output is CBA. Here after D, I mean the D is not there, so it returns empty character. Whereas here after just empty, this one, it returns the input. So substring after is important. There is substring after. So substring after uses the first occurrence, whereas substring after last uses the last occurrence. Gets the substring after the last occurrence of a separator is what this is saying. So you can practice by copy pasting these examples. Make sure you take ample time and answer the questions that I'm going to share too. So after last, I mean, here there is only one B, so it returns C, whereas here there are two Bs. So before it returned CBA if we use substring after, but if we use substring after last, the last B here, after it we have just one A. And ABC, there is no D, none. This one also after last, the last is like after ABC there is nothing, so it is empty too. There is also before. You can see substring before last, substring by. They are similar, just practice them. There is underscore here. Let's see underscore. So underscore replaces hyphens, spaces, and camel casing in a string with underscores. So copy this, take it here. Customer, it is just one word, nothing will happen. These dashes will be replaced by underscores, as you can see. This one also, there is white space, it replaces it by underscore. This one also, the N becomes lowercase. And this one is in camel case. Now, N will be lowercase, and we see a dash. I mean, an underscore has also been added. So underscore adds underscore, dasherize adds dashes. And what others are here that are important? Almost all of them are important, but I want to see the ones that are commonly used. Underscore. There is this unwrap, wrap with, not that common, but let's see. This one will be our last example. Okay, let me see another one. Camelize, capitalize, dasherize, first, is alpha numeric, is lowercase, is numeric, is uppercase, is white space also. This one is also important. White space, so this let's copy. It returns true if it is just white space. That means if there is nothing there. So here for now, it is not white space, obvious. This one and these two are white spaces. I mean, if it is empty also, it is white space here, as you can see. Internally, it is white space. These two are white spaces, whereas these ones, there are non-white space. There are other characters. So we see D to F are false. B and C are true. So we covered lots of functions today from the two modules, the arrays and strings. As you can see, they are intuitive. If you just read the documentation, they are intuitive. The thing is to internalize them and to know what to use when. You have to practice more. So we will have more examples with real-world questions. One asked me, how do you convert string to array and vice versa? Yeah, you can use reduce, or you can use also from string to array. Before someone asked it from object to array. This one is from string to array and vice versa. Also asked me, how do you integrate two arrays? Integrate two arrays, we can use double plus for concatenation, for example. It depends on the array. The double plus is one, reduce is another thing. You can use map also. So, but it depends on the question. Like if I understood your question, like if we have two arrays, var v1 equals to 1 to 10, and var v2 equals to 11 to 20. And then now this is integration v1 plus v2. We have them together, but it depends on the kind of the question. Okay, what was the other question? Okay, yeah, I was thinking about that. Was it less than 3? Okay, let me see. So Let's go to arrays, and the function was drop while. Oh yeah, filter is to include, drop while is there take while. Okay, filter is synonymous, I mean more similar to take while. Take while it returns while the condition is fulfilled, whereas drop while it drops it. So thank you, Aspan. So if we bring this here, now take while the value is less than 1. So it checks until it gives all the values as far as this condition is true. Once it returns false, it stops checking. So 0 is less than 1, yes. 1 is less than or equal to 1. 1 is less than or equal to 1, yes. So you see it gives 0 or 1. Whereas this one, if we replace it by drop while, it will give us 2 and 1. So filter was, yeah, it should be take while that I have to compare. Take while and filter, not drop while. Now, if I do drop while, you see 0 and 1 have been dropped, and it returns 1, 2. So, yeah, here also, so take while, it was take while. Now, the difference between take while and filter, it is going to give us not only 0 and 1, these first two elements when I use filter, since it keeps checking all the values in the array, it is going to give us this one also. So let's replace this by filter. You see now it gives us 0, 1, and 1. Yeah, I was confused. I was confusing it. So it is with take while that we have to compare it, not with drop while. Drop is dropping, whereas take while it retains. So yeah, thank you so much, Aspan. And perfect. So this is enough for today. Thank you very much for your time. We will share more questions with real world use cases, with real data. And as you practice more and more, you will be really DataWeave gurus. We will need one class to finish with other modules. There are other modules, like for example, under, let's see, under common ones, and like for example, if password or sensitive information, personal PPI or personally identifiable data comes in, you want to mask it or remove it. So there are functions for doing that. There is this mask. Or you may need to update values in an array or an object. There is update also. We'll see this too. And under this one, this lookup is used to look up another flow, to pass a payload to that flow and get the output from that. That one also we'll see. Now, so far, there is, so with flows, we saw error handling, how to handle errors gracefully, but with DataWeave, we have not done that yet. And there are functions for doing it, for doing that under runtime. This one we have try while, we have here try, or else try, fail if, this one's also. So all the remaining, we are going to see them in one class. And if you practice what we have covered so far and what we'll cover in next class, and especially if you answer the questions that I am sharing, please try to practice the questions that I am sharing in that channel. Do it again and again. Coding is a matter of practice. If you practice, you'll be good at it. So far, we have more than 70 questionnaires. Make sure all of you are comfortable. And if you have questions, if you have difficulty with any questions, even if I may not have time, if you ask me, then I can arrange with someone from the group who has more command of these questions, and then you can have a separate session as well. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, and see you next week. Okay, I'm stopping recording.